and thanks for joining us for a much belated challenge chat for the month of March. Sorry about that. It's Laurie's fault.
Yeah, it's my fault.
Laurie was having fun at Disney World, so she couldn't come in, but that's okay. Yeah. We got her here now. So this one's going to be a little bit of a abridged monthly / this weekly, okay, for the week that's starting, gosh, I didn't even know the date. What is it, the 13th?
12th in the US.
It's the 12th of March. So sit back, enjoy, and hopefully you still get a chance to get a few ideas, and we'll get back on our regular routine from here. All right, let's start with going back to the monthlies. There's lots of things happening. So let's start with our usual, the Daily 30. What's the theme for this month in Daily 30?
The theme for this month is a whip parade. So pull out all your whips and let's get some progress done on everything. So Carrie loaded us up with a bunch of prompts that helps you diversify what you're going to stitch on. So first prompt, stitch on your oldest whip.
Oldest whip.
Yep.
Ooh, that's a tricky one. I have to think about that one.
Well, for me, that's Cozy Cove. So let's show it. It's been a while.
That would be good.
Yes. So Cozy Cove is my oldest whip, and it is oldest, and you can see the wrinkle. This is an actual photo of my kit. It is a kit, and it comes with a paper chart and Ada and thread that's color coded the dimensions away. So that's why it's my oldest whip. What about you, Lisa?
Well, I don't have a lot of old whips anymore because we've been working on our oldest whips for a while. But I'm going to be focusing on my whip go pieces for this month, which you guys haven't seen yet. So the oldest one of those is Blueberry Homecoming. And there's two reasons this is my oldest. It's one of my equal oldest of being ones that from when I started it, and it started in probably 2019 because I think that's the oldest I've got left. But it's also a really old piece, as in like it was written, and it features an old-fashioned time. So I'm going to tie all three of those into my oldest whip.
Nice, nice. So prompt number 2, stitch on your biggest whip.
I can do that one quickly. I worked this one out. Gingerbread Manor is a Haid, and it is 700 by 500 stitches. So I think it successfully fits the bill. And I am, where's my camera? I am up in this corner, which for some reason is all black.
Got it. So I'm on As the Leaves Turn because I limited my whips this year. So this is my largest whip that I can stitch on. We don't have the dimensions handy, but it's big. I'm sorry?
Well, it's your whips this year are your 20, however many you chose.
Yes, correct.
That is all your whips that there are. Yeah.
So the third prompt is stitch on your whip that is the closest to being finished.
Okay. Okay, well, my closest to a finish is Gigi by Nora Corbett.
Nice.
In fact, I can show you. I have to get up though.
Okay.
I can actually show you real stitching for this one because she's on the Q-snap.
Nice.
So if I take her off the Q-snap, because you guys don't often get to see stitching on here.
That's right.
The whole bottom, apart from the beads, is done. So she's done all the way up to the top of her body. So I've just got to do the stitching in there and her face and arm, and then the beading.
Nice.
So she's my goal. I'm hoping to get her done today if possible.
Really close. So I didn't start stitching on the monthly yet, and I had a finish last night, so I'm going to sneak that in. So this doesn't count, but it is a finish. It is Folk Flowers by Satsuma Street, and it was a very fun stitch. But since that is finished, I have to move to my gnome. So I'll show you, and I've showed this progress last month, I believe. This March gnome, I'm at about 6,000 stitches and he's about 10,000 stitches. So I'm really close, hoping to finish him this month. So that's my closest to finish.
Oh, that's good.
And then the number 4, stitch on something that relates to the season you're currently in.
Okay, so for me, that is autumn. we are in autumn in Australia. And in autumn, it is rainy, it is windy, and it is getting cold. And so Gigi to me looks like she's wearing a big cape that's blowing in the wind, and it's blue, which is often a raincoat color.
Nice. So I am currently in the month of March. So I know that's not a season, but so I really want to swing to do my March gnome, but I won't stretch the rules that far. So I'm actually in winter still. It's just a couple of weeks shy of spring. So I will do Sing and Rejoice, which is also my whip go piece for this month. And here it is. I am doing Sing and Rejoice, which is this piece up here in this collection of 3 things.
If you had the same system as Australia, you'd be in spring already and you could do your March gnome.
Yeah.
Because we change on the 1st of February.
Oh, okay.
1st of March, 1st of March, we start the next season. We start on a date, not on a equinox.
Got it. So number 4, stitch on a whip that with the least amount of colors.
All right, this one was easy for me. Lucy Radden. One color.
Yes. For me and Zach, I'm stitching it on a dyed fabric, so it's dynamic, but I am stitching it in black, so it's one color. Okay.
Can't get much less than one.
Nope. Stitch on a whip, and this is number 6. Stitch on a whip with a border that you still need to stitch. So you're still working on the border.
Okay, my Lucy Radden, I was still working on the border. This one could have fitted so many of my monthlies, but I actually finished it. So it's done now, which leaves me with a bit of a quandary, but for the next one. But anyway.
Love the finishes. So for me, Nevermore, and this is also another piece I am hoping to finish this month. I am right at the top of this gate here, and I'm hoping to get up to this border by the time I swing around to my monthlies. So here you go. Number 7, stitch on a whip you consider small. You consider a small, whatever determination you make.
Or small be better. Well, if it's a determination, I have a hope, because Nora Corbett's pixies are pretty small in terms of mirabilis, but they wouldn't be classified as small as such. So I have to work out what I'm going to do to make it as small. And I don't have any smalls I'm currently working on, and I just finished my my Radden, Lucy Radden, but it does have a pin cushion, that part of that pattern. So I'm thinking I might have to stitch the pin cushion.
Oh, nice. My only small, because I don't tend to work smalls except for like a quick ornament, and those go like on a weekend, is Dreaming of Klimt, which is classified as a small according to other groups. And I put down the dimensions for the graders. It's 77 by 122. So you guys know what I mean by a small for me.
Yes, and you know, with no new starts, I think we had it under 100. So if you add up the top and the side and then divide them by 2, it gives you a number, and that number is sort of how you work it up. So yes, under 100 is what was for no new starts, and lots of other groups use that same philosophy.
Got it. So number 8 is stitch on a whip from a designer that you have the most whips of.
Well, it turns out, apart from myself, I have the most whips from Cuore e Baticuore, and my Lavender Farm got drawn in my whip go this month. So I'll be working on Lavender Farm.
Nice. So because I am in the Gnome of the Year, Sal, from 2021, and I'm still working on those gnomes, I have 12 of those, and that's more than I have of any other designer. So Missy Cross is the designer, and so I'm going to pick my March gnome because I want to get him finished, and that is my
focus. Yeah.
Number 9, stitch on a whip that has a part gifted to you or that you will gift when completed.
Okay, I have lots of Stitchy Kind friends. This one was called for my whip go. It's Miss Christmas Eve. And I'm actually stitching her on a piece of fabric that was gifted to me by another floss tuber, Aussie stitcher, Belinda. So I'm going to work on her for that prompt.
Nice. Okay, mine is a bit of a story, but I'll try to shorten it. So this February gnome has a lot of pinks, and I don't know if you've noticed in my whip album, I'm very warm, and pink is just not my color typically. So I got gifted a set, not a full set of DMC, but like a kit of DMC from a friend, and her sister passed away, and her sister was crafty, and I've used it on several things, but I got a lot of pinks out of that kit. And the lady that passed away was Liz Scott, and she passed away quite some time ago. But anyway, I am remembering her as I'm stitching on my February gnome. So that is my story.
Lovely.
Yes. Last prompt, stitch on a whip that is a part of a series.
Well, I know what you're going to do.
Yes.
I'm actually going to do my blueberry homecoming, because there's blueberry homecoming and raspberry homecoming. So, and a whole bunch of this style pieces that join together to make a series. But I figure at least the two homecomings are definitely a series. So I'm going to work on that one. And you're going to do a gnome.
Yes, I am. And that does it for the daily 30 monthly.
Okay. The next monthly that we often talk about is the Mythological Stitchers, and they are continuing to do all their wonderful prompts for the monthly as well as their ongoing weeklies. I'm not going to break down we're not going to break down their prompts today, but I'm just going to tell you what they actually say. But I just have to find the right one to read it to you. Okay, so they're following their year of gemstones. And so for March, the gemstone is aquamarine, heliotrope. So two different ones. So the first prompt would be a piece that you have a frog in or you have frogged. So that's pretty easy to do anything. The second prompt is something you find healing or shows weather. So that's pretty nice and broad too. The third one is either has water or a living being that lives in the water. Imagine if you have a living being that lives in the water, there probably is water shown as well, but anyway. And then the last one is a color one. So you've got to stitch in either brown, green or red for 100, 250 or 500 stitches. So nice and easy prompts that everyone can, touch on. What's happening in Semisane, Laurie, for the month?
Semisane, I am doing Wheel of Fortune, and I love, love, love this game. So basically it's a cross between like Hangman and Wheel of Fortune. And so the admins give you a puzzle, a word puzzle, and a bunch of blanks, and you guess a letter. Each letter has a stitch value. And so when you guess that letter, if there is a letter present in your puzzle, you stitch the value of that letter times how many letters appear in the puzzle. If you get it wrong and you don't have that letter in your puzzle, then you stitch 100 stitches and you guess again. So if you miss two in a row, I'm sorry, if you miss one, it resets your points. So if you get two letters correct in a row, you start to accumulate points. And if you miss a letter after you've accumulated points, it's kind of like you hitting a bankrupt in Wheel of Fortune, and you start over in your point value, but you don't get a new puzzle. You just lose your progress points. But anyway, it's a very fun thing. And I think that Folk Flowers finish, along with the Animal Adventure, really helped me push through and finish some items, because you're just stitching and you're having fun. So I love it. Thank you, Semisane.
Look, it's amazing how much these prompts are really helping people to get finishes. And this year, I'm noticing it even more because of no new starts. and all the people who are participating in the road trip are just commenting on how much more progress they're getting done, because they've got a focus. You know, they've
Yes.
got to get a certain number of stitches to get to a point. They've got to do something. And with Learning Starts, there's no particular topic. There's a bonus sometimes if you stitch on something with flowers or with an animal, but generally you stitch on whatever you want to stitch on, and you just can change whips whenever you want. And people have been having great fun lately because we had a pop-up alien event. Someone who went the aliens in the what is it, Area 91 in
61.
61. Yeah, I'm not great on American geography. So someone woke up the aliens, and we had a pop-up event where you had to try and get away from them, and lots of people got away, but then there were also random abductions where you got plopped up and you did 500 stitches, some people, and they got plopped back down somewhere. Some people got plopped back where they got picked up from, others got plopped 3 stops ahead. So everyone's been having lots of fun, and the aliens hopefully are going away today, although I know there's a few of our stitchers who are going to be on the ship going away with them, so that's going to be interesting.
Yes, and it was Area 51, by the way.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that's all right. You guys know what we're talking about more than me, being an Aussie. There are also in the main group of No New Starts, we are doing the Get to Know Your Admin. And the Get to Know Your Admin this month is getting to know Mary Barbara. So let's have a quick look at Mary Barbara and see if we can work out what Mary Barbara is up to. I'm just trying to find the post. The joys of having all these groups to look at. So Mary Barbara is one of our full coverage stitchers, and she's a lovely moderator, and she doesn't have a lot of whips. So she's one of the people who has not many choices. So the first prompt for Get to Know Mary Barbara is you have to stitch on something that you can relate to Virginia Beach in VA, which I imagine is Virginia. So I had no idea. I was thinking originally, well, it's a beach, so I guess anything to do with a beach, because surely a town's not called a beach. But then I also did start doing some like Googling the town to find out about it. Do you have anything that you're jumping out to be on a beach?
Yes, Cozy Cove.
Of course. And it's not quite a beach, but my gingerbread cottage has a little pond with a boat. So I reckon I could tie that in. Plus you eat lots of candy and ice cream when you're at the beach. So her birthday's in January, so stitch on a whip you can relate to January.
Mine would be the Sing and Rejoice that I showed before with the winter scene.
Mine's a bit weird. Kringles. Now you're going, it's all Christmassy. What are you talking about? But I pack up all my Christmas stuff at the beginning of January. So I'm going to be packing all these beautiful decorations up in January.
There you go.
Closest I could get to in my ones. Her favorite drink is water, and it's a good choice to have around stitching. Stitch on a whip with water.
Yes.
Obviously Cozy Cove and my gingerbread house. And her favorite, she does not have one favorite color, so you have to stitch in bright colors. Now that's a tricky one, because if you were going to say to me stitch a piece with bright colors, it would be going gingerbread. But remember I said I'm up in this corner and it's all black. So I'm actually in a bit of a quandary for my bright colors, because nothing I am stitching currently is bright.
I am going with my March gnome because he's brilliant green and the fabric's gold, and yeah, he's bright.
I think probably my best bet for this one is going to be to use my temperature bookshelf, because I'm using bright colors for that, and I can double dip across the group, so that works well. Her favorite designer is Heaven and Earth Designs. Stitch on a design by Haid. What have you got?
As the leaves turn.
Yep. And then the last one I can't do. but stitch on any whip that matches one from her album. So there's a link to her album. And as I said, she only has a couple of whips. So it's going to be interesting to see if anyone can match her actual whips. But again, you don't have to do all of them. You just do whatever you want, and it's a start and a finish. There's no limit. You just show progress. That's all we're looking for.
Yeah.
Okay, that then brings us to pop culture. Now, pop culture had a lot going on every month. There's heaps. There is something for everybody. So many things that we've started to not do them all because it's just way too many to think about. The first thing they've got is they've got a challenge to do with Think Spring. So there's spring, and then there's the St. Patrick's Day. Laurie, what are you doing? Let me guess.
My March gnome.
For both or just for St. Patrick's Day?
Just for St. Patrick's Day. For flowers, I can't double dip, and I use my folk flowers for something else that I just finished. But I have lots of whips with flowers. So I will use a whip with flowers. Yeah.
I'm going
to focus on St. Patrick's Day for.
Well, for St. Patrick's Day, it gives the suggestions of green, white, or orange, shamrocks or four-leaf clovers, or anything you consider lucky, gold, leprechauns, and gnomes, rainbows, finding the pot of gold at the end, and beer or whiskey. So I actually look at my rainbow with a pot of gold.
Oh, nice.
And that's right where I'm up to, which you'll see when we talk about it in a minute. So I can actually do that one with my temperature bookshelf, and I'm actually on the rainbow, so it's even better.
Yes.
And for spring, obviously, baby animals, gardening, rainbows, rain, Easter, even though it's in April this year, it's still a spring thing for you guys, and flowers. So yeah, pretty cool. Then they're also doing a whole bunch of national days. So instead of the fun facts this month, we've got a huge list of days. So many days. Have you picked any days to work on, Laurie?
I have. So I finished one of them. The Plant a Flower Day, I finished folk flowers. So all of my stitches for folk flowers went under that prompt. And then for National Old Stuff Day, Cozy Cove. Yeah.
And I picked for that one. I haven't looked at these too much yet because I'm not trying to knock over my daily 30 stuff first and then double dip across. But my old stuff day was my Lucy Radden because she's an old sampler.
Yeah, there you go. And then World Music Therapy Day, I am doing Sing and Rejoice.
Of course, that works well. Yes. There's National Colour Therapy Month. So realistically, I feel like this is colour therapy.
Yes.
There's National Crafting Month, and I can definitely do National Crafting Month either with this one or with my Cross Stitch Nation, which we'll see in a minute. National Read Across America Day, so any of those Amy Stewart bookshelves or anything with books in it. And National I Want You to Be Happy Day. Now, come on, guys. Any cross stitch makes you happy, doesn't it? There's National Women's Day. And this is my National Woman.
Nice.
And there's also National Canine Veterans Day. So anything with a dog in it. So you could do your As He Leaves turn because I know there's a puppy dog in that one.
Yes, and Cozy Cove as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although there's also a National Puppy Day, so I don't know, get to choose your choices between those ones. And 80s music, 80 movies flashbacks.
Yes.
We're not going to go through them, but cool movies from our era. Yay!
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so that is pop culture. So I think that's pretty much the monthlies that we want to talk about. We're going to give you just a quick, we're going to jump back in schedule with our weeklies. And we're going to give you a quick look at the Daily 30 weekly that is currently starting this week. Moving forward, so remember you'll see Laurie and I, twice a month for the weeklies, but this time it's we'll probably be back next week to get things back in schedule. So we'll see.
Yes. So the Ides of March runs from March 11th through March 25th. The stitch counts are 200 stitches or 2 hours for 3 tokens, 300 stitches or 3 hours for 5 tokens. And this year, Daily 30 has been varying their token values. So be sure to pay attention to that when you're totaling up your tokens for the graders. We would greatly appreciate that.
And you need to make sure you do token them, add them up, and make it accurate up the top to help the graders too. Otherwise, they may not grade you. And that's perfectly fine because it's a lot of work. People don't understand how much time it takes to go through and grade. So they've started to really clamp down, as Laurie warned us. If you haven't updated your top, bad luck.
Yeah. So on the Ides of March, the first prompt is stitch on a whip where you have had to stitch backwards, basically frog or tadpole.
My focus on a finish is GG.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually frogged her in the half an hour before the prompts came out. So we were on Zoom and we went, well, GG it is for that one.
Yes. For me, I've already shown it, but nevermore. For some reason, if you can see the wavy line of this border, once I got up to about here, I'm like, I'm off one. I have to be off one because it seems right about here to shift a little bit to the right. And so I frogged that a couple of times and it was right. Anyway.
Yeah.
Number 2, stitch on a whip with something you would find in the night sky.
A witch flying across the night sky on her broomstick.
Nice. So Nevermore, which I just put up, has a moon in the back of the graveyard. So night sky. There you go. And prompt number 3, stitch on a whip you can relate to food or celebrations.
Halloween.
Yes. For me, March gnome, because everybody celebrates on St. Patty's Day. Not everybody, but you know what I mean.
A lot of people do, yes.
A lot of people do, yes. Even people that are not Irish. Many people that are not Irish.
Good excuse to have a party.
Yes, absolutely. Number 4, stitch on a whip you can relate to death.
Witches can kill people. Or they got
Yes.
burnt at the stake.
Yes. For me, Nevermore. For several reasons. The graveyard, the raven, the pawn, yeah, all that. Number 5, stitch on a whip you can relate to literature or Shakespeare or theater.
Double, double, boil and trouble, toil and trouble, fire burn, and cauldron bubble from Macbeth.
For me, Nevermore, because it's based off of Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven.
Are you seeing a pattern happening here, people?
Yes. If you want to focus, you can
make it work.
Yeah, you can make it work. So prompt number 6 is the SAL of your choice. And Daily 30, every time, even if you're using the same SAL every week over week, please put a picture or the hashtag like the prompt says to qualify your whip as a true SAL, not just a group of friends getting together saying we're going to stitch this together. Yeah.
So my cross stitch nation, that's what it's meant to look like in the original version. And I am getting some great progress done on this. I'm going to take it out so you can see exactly where we are with it. There you go.
Love it.
I belong to the crow. And what I really love is I put my LL down here and it looks like I'm wearing boots.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, so it just worked out perfectly. And see, I'm doing rainbow multicolored flowers up the top. I've got all the red here, and then I don't know what color I'm going to put the people's names in. But yeah, we've totally completed Sue, Rachel, Michelle, and I.
Nice.
So I'm working my way across here with the flowers, and then I'll be moving on to the second half. And you know, you're talking about what's a small. This is pretty small for me, but it's not a small as such. But it's like, you know, I'm more than halfway done. So it's pretty small.
Nice. So of course I've been talking about my gnomes and their a year of gnome Sal, and I'm just gonna quick shot show my post in Daily 30 so you can see what I mean about posting a screenshot. This basically says it's the year of the gnome Sal
Yeah.
to qualify it for this prompt. And then I post a picture of the actual whip for the graders. So that's what they're looking for.
Yes, I do a screenshot from the Instagram tag.
Very
That
nice.
works too. And then we've got our Daily 30.
Yes, the Daily 30.
Now, I am behind. I did not end up getting my Daily 30 done in the last few weeks. Life has been a bit crazy. Laurie goes away and life gets crazy. It's all Laurie's fault. So this is where I'm up to. So January and February is totally finished. And I'm really happy with that. But you can see my rainbow here heading to its pot of gold. So it's good though, because this week I'm going to do my Daily 30 and I'll be able to just work on books. So I sort of needed to get behind so that I had some stitching, because I don't really want to move the Q-snap till I'm down here. But we'll see. So that's where it's up to.
Nice. Well, that concludes the weekly for the Ides of March.
For Mythological, the weekly is still looking at mythical creatures, and this one is called Ashanti, which is an earth goddess preparing to bring forth new life into the spring. She's a fertility goddess, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I love the detail you get and the knowledge you learn from reading all these prompts. The people who set so many of them do so much research. It's really fascinating. So we're not going to go through them, but a piece that shows rain or clouds, a feast or something you might bring to a feast, a spider or a child, and crops, a farm or farmers working. So I can already double dip in my head instantly, mostly some of those. And I can definitely double dip yours, Laurie.
Yes.
As the leaves turn, just covers so many of those.
Yes, it did. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. So, and those ones, I think you just stitch for however many stitches you want to, and it's just like show progress or, you know, that sort of thing. Again, a nice thing, I like having a direction. So that's why I like to know what I'm doing. Now, our other games, we haven't talked to you guys much about them lately. And so we're going to quickly tell you what we're up to in our favorite games. And then I'm just going to read you a list that I saw because someone made a post, and there were games I haven't even heard of yet. So what are we up to in your favorite game at the moment, Laurie?
Some other games we have are Survival of the Stitchiest, and we are currently hunting, I am not even going to say a dragon-like creature. It's a long word for dragon.
German word. I learned this last night, and Natalie can say it.
Okay, good. Yes. So yeah, after that, Utopia, we are currently searching for water, searching for a pond, and we're roaming. So that's another one that I frequent. There's Floss in Space. Basically, you are on an adventure. Right now, our group is in school, training school, because we're trying to get to the point that we can launch into space. I think that's it. We've already gone over Semisane. I've tried to pare down my groups because, you know, posting pictures everywhere can be a challenge. And of course,
I have two. The other one I actively do is Utopia, where we are traveling. We're in the middle of traveling, you know, between towns, gathering people to move to our new world. But there's an event, which is unusual. We don't usually have an event. So there's a pop-up event and we have to go and have a bath and wash all our clothes. But our group is really organized and we have heaps of soap, and it's not going to be a big dilemma to do that. So we're enjoying that. We also, trying to think what else. I think that's about all I'm doing game-wise. I'm still trying to find this post for the different games.
okay.
Run away from me. There was a whole bunch of them, and I went, I need to read them to you guys because I had not heard of half of them. There is a game out there for everyone. There is ones that you can do that are team-based. There's ones that you can do that are individual-based. I'm also playing in So You Think You Can Stitch the Mole at the moment, and
Mhm.
we are getting towards the end of that, trying to work out who our mole is. We have a different challenge every week. This week we've got riddles. We had to solve a riddle, and then we had to post what we thought the riddle, like what's in the riddle in our piece. So, for
Mhm.
example, one of the riddles, the answer is your word. So I'm not quite sure how you post your word, but maybe something with words in it.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I can't find that list, so you'll have to wait till next week. I'll try and find it and save it so I can tell you, but it was a whole bunch I hadn't even heard of, so I thought I should share. But the thing is, and we always say this, guys, is not every game is for everyone.
Mhm.
And some games are fast paced and instant and like you to do things and have the adrenaline rush. Laurie and I like those ones, but then we like to have a bit of downtime too. We don't like to
Mhm.
be hammering you constantly. Others, you just, post and stitch. The Harry Potter game is like that. You've got team events and you post, and um, you post for your team points, and you can just post a start and a finish every day. And then there's events that pop up for different things that you can do in Harry Potter, and we've got an event for that too. I think we're getting a dragon too, but um, there's other ones where it's just individual and you just do what you're wanting to do. No New Starts has got another event coming in the next week or so, so watch out for that. Miss Natalie is coming back with her riff off. So who
Nice.
knows what she's got planned for that, but it is coming, either just before the end of the month or as the month rolls over. So the riff off is coming. You've got your zodiac to work on as well. Plus you've got the get to know your admin. So heaps of fun, heaps of stitching to be had, and lots of progress on those whips.
Yes.
All right, guys, we're going to leave you there, and we will be back sometime in the near future. Thanks for joining us.